So tell me, Mama, why make buffaloes big as cookie?
Well, man from health department say he find rat pellet in our pastry, but I say no. Is big chocolate sprinkle, but he shut store down. So we clean up, make big cookie for to bring customers back.
Well, I admire your candor. Well, let's try that again, shall we?
Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, TJ Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host. I couldn't get God to show up tonight, but he sent his only son in his stead, Mr. James O'Reilly.
Jeez, I'm Jesus, man. I'm not touching any of that.
And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters, and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Jim, what are we watching tonight?
We're watching what I believe is the first iteration of Morgan Freeman as God and/or the voice of God, Bruce Almighty.
That's right, the 2003 comedy Bruce Almighty, directed by Tom Shadyac, written by Steve Coren, Mark O'Keefe, and Steve Odekirk, returning man here in the podium here tonight. I did not see a Steve Odekirk jumping back out again. More on him to come. And starring Jim Carrey, the aforementioned Morgan Freeman, and Jennifer Aniston. Now, Jim, we've got the lovely DVD cover here. I know every week you love when we bust it out. Not many blurbs, though. Universal just not pumping out the blurbs like you like to see on a lot of these. They do, though. They got our boy Ebert in the building. Ebert and Roper gave it 2 thumbs up.
Whoa, 2 thumbs each, or was it like
I think 1 thumb from each of them, equating to a lovely tour. Otherwise,
I see. That's how they did it. I get it.
yeah, like you get that lovely pose where like the 2 of them are there, each giving 1, and they're just
Yeah, right.
those look like 2 bros together hitting some cinema.
It gets both the Ebert and the Roper stamp of approval.
It gets the seal. Roper, yeah, sure, Roper, yeah, that sounds right. We'll go with that.
All I know is he's no Siskel, okay?
Yeah, he had no Siskel, but you got to do what you got to do at this point. But we turn to our lovely logline on the back, and it reads, Bruce Nolan is a TV reporter who believes the entire universe is stacked against him. In a life-altering encounter, the big guy upstairs endows Bruce, well, I'm sorry about that, endows Bruce with all of his divine powers and challenges Bruce to take on the big job to see if he can do any better. Quick and easy and to the point.
I kind of dig it. There wasn't really that many puns, right? I didn't miss any puns.
You would think that this movie would tee up for some good punnage there with the Lord, but they weren't taking any low hanging fruit on this one. This is a respected comedy here, all right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you don't wear a hat in God's house,
Yeah, taking easy pot shots at the Lord. It's just you don't do that on a DVD cover.
Yeah,
it's not happening. Did you see Bruce Almighty in theaters?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Who did it? I mean, you'd be hard pressed, I feel like, to find somebody from our age bracket that wasn't a huge Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah, this was like the perfect movie for my dad to take me and my sister to. We both liked like Liar Liar, and I'm trying to think if there was. I think it was just Liar Liar was the one I was really big into. Oh, Ace Ventura was up there too.
Yeah, but we were like hard children when that came out. Your dad, there's no way your dad took you to Ace Ventura, right?
No, he didn't take me to Ace Ventura. I'm just saying, at this point, Jim Carrey had some clout. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a staple
comedy. We had seen his movies on VHS a lot, like his.
Gotcha.
This was like a layup for my dad.
Yeah, he's a staple in the household at this point. Like people are going. Yeah, I'm the same way, of course.
Who did you see it with? I'm guessing you saw this with Rob, right?
Oh yeah, Big Rob took me and Zach to see this because we were all same deal, huge Jim Carrey fans. And how could you not be with classics like Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, a previous episode, which you can go back and listen to right now. Jim Carrey is a staple for everybody who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. And this one I remember loving this movie too when it came out. I was a very big fan of this movie. And then like so many of the movies that we've done on this, I watched it a lot when we were in high school, and then I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it.
Yeah, this is another movie like I kind of forgot it even existed. Like it doesn't cross my mind literally ever, you know?
Especially too, like when you're in the mood for a Jim Carrey vehicle, you're going for the hits. You're going for Ace Ventura. You're going for The Mask, Liar Liar. You're not really turning to your Bruce Almighty when you want to
I'll
throw
tell
in
you
a
what,
Jim Carrey
TJ,
classic.
I can't remember the last time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on a Jim Carrey movie. Like,
Oh, wow. You must not like to laugh anymore, Jim. Or what's come on.
yeah.
Where do you turn to for your laughter?
Yeah, I mean, no, like I watch, like I don't know. I haven't put a Jim Carrey movie on in a while. I haven't felt the urge that you're speaking of.
It's true. It's a very different comedy than you see today. So you really got to be in the mood for a certain type of spectacle to throw on a good Jim Carrey classic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of the faces. Okay, the goofy faces are just too much, man.
Too much for you. You can't take the overacting.
Yeah,
The contortionist. But yeah, this movie I remember being an absolute. I remember this movie being everywhere when it first came out too, because I remember that trailer hitting and it was huge. It was just that scene. It was like it was a just a composite of clouds, and it was that voiceover guy that you don't see in trailers anymore, which is an absolute missed opportunity to not have that guy anymore. I know he died, but like there's got to be somebody out there who can do the voice and bring it
don't
back
worry. In a
because
few months, they'll just like have an AI version of his voice that they can put in every trailer.
that is true. There you go. Yeah, just go through the piles of movie trailers and just create a composite. But it was just a shot of clouds, and he was like, "What would you do with the Lord's power?" And it cuts down to that scene of Jim Carrey walking across the street, and then he does the shot at the fire hydrant and it just explodes up into the air. And
Yeah, and I
everyone was
got the
like, "Jim
Cowboys
Carrey
playing.
is Bruce Almighty," and everybody was talking about that teaser for months.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good teaser. It gets the concept across like right away.
Duh, and hey, it put butts in the seats because this movie did absolutely phenomenal for a comedy and did some numbers that you don't see comedies really do anymore. So let's cue it up. Let's dive into it, Jim. Let's hear about those box office numbers.
Numbers, dates, numbers, numbers, dates, array, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
All right, so Bruce Almighty opens the weekend of May 23rd through the 25th of
Smells like a Memorial Day.
I think it's 2004. Hold on.
It's not 2004.
2003. You are correct. It's not 2004. It's 2003. It opens number 1 with 60, just like a shade under 68 million.
It's like, yeah, dude, that's some good stuff right there. A shade under, that's like, so a shade under 68, good enough to put us on this list right here. To break the top 10, it comes in now in the 10th seed, just behind The Mummy Returns and just ahead of Rush Hour 2's. Got a 67.4. Mummy Returns has got a 68.4. So that is
Yeah, so right.
filthy good right there.
It's in great company to start. And this is another one of those holiday weekends that I know for some reason you don't like to keep track of whatsoever. But so
Our-
it pulls
our
in
4-dayers.
that 67.95 million on its 3-day from Friday to Sunday. But this comes out Memorial Day weekend, and just on the Memorial Day Monday alone, it pulls in another 17.8 million.
So what's that 4-day? That's a good 4-day weekend.
Yeah, 4-day it pulls in 85.7.
85.7.
Insane, right? And that's all against an $81 million budget. So in that opening weekend, like that 4-day holiday weekend, they've already
It's already already hits the budget. And also that 86.4 is good enough for the second highest weekend, Memorial Day weekend of all time, behind only the Lost World Jurassic Park. Like that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about this movie comes out on Memorial Day weekend. It is not shying away from competition. It's now like a hit in the middle of the summer movie season.
What's it going
Take a
up
look at that.
against? What else came out that Memorial Day?
Well, so nothing much really opened that weekend. right?
Okay.
So, another movie that opened was in fifth place, The In-Laws, with 7.3 million. I don't
That
know what
movie.
that is.
I think it's
Uh,
Albert Brooks and Ryan Reynolds. It's like a really crappy rom-com.
Albert Brooks and Ryan Reynolds. I've never even heard of that movie, dude. I didn't even know those guys were ever in a movie together.
Well, now you do. You gotta watch the end
Uh,
of this.
the next opening, and this is probably the last one I'll read. Down in 37th place with
Oh boy.
$71,000. Respiro.
Sure. Yeah. That sounds like a thing.
That's from Sony Pictures Classics. Not so sure on
Yeah.
the classics part.
Ironic.
But so there's not much opening weekend competition, but there is some movies in here that are like, people are gonna go see on Memorial Day weekend, right? In second place, it's the second weekend of The Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, dude, it beat The Matrix Reloaded, dude.
I mean, second weekend, yeah,
But
but
still,
yeah,
but that's still, especially for Memorial Day weekend, like they probably assumed that The Matrix would ride high for a second week and Bruce would take two.
yeah. I think The Matrix was like hurt by the reception.
Yeah,
Like I think
yeah.
the critics and the audiences were not huge fans of the second
This is
Matrix movie.
this is the first of the sequels to come out, right? Reloaded's the
Right.
second one.
Yeah, this is the second Matrix. Like, this is
That's
the
the one with
sequel.
like the insane underground rave orgy.
Yeah, I think so. And like, there's like those twins with like the long white hair.
What a movie.
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't think like the opening weekend of The Matrix happened. The reception, I don't think, was quite as big as the original one was. So that movie did have like a near 60% drop. It had 59.8%.
Yeah,
Uh,
that could tell that took a hit after that weekend. People were like, maybe we go with Jim.
yeah, the in third place, another comedy, but it's its third week. Daddy Daycare with
Oh, a
just
movie
like right on the nose, 14 million.
a movie near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I love that movie. I don't understand how you could not love that movie. It's amazing.
To be fair, I watched that movie maybe twice when we were in high school and hated it. So maybe age has given it enough wisdom for me to maybe enjoy it this time around.
Yeah, it's Eddie Murphy, and then what's the guy from Curb's name? Like Jeff something?
Jeff Garlin
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff Garland is the other guy in
is the
Daddy
other guy.
Daycare. Yeah.
Amazing.
And then in fourth place, we talked about this X-Men 2, X2, X-Men United. I don't want to get that name wrong. That's an important
Listen,
one.
hey, yeah, show some respect.
Second week of Bruce Almighty, it drops down to second place with a 45.1% drop, pulls in 37.3 million.
It's not a bad
It's
drop.
behind what I'm going to assume is our next week's episode.
Are you using the basic bitch principle again?
Yes, because this is again like this is a movie that like everybody saw. Finding Nemo. I'm gonna guess is next week's episode.
Ooh, Jimbo. Man, you're learning the rules of the basic bitch formula. That is indeed our next movie. Of course. How are you gonna miss a Pixar movie?
Yeah, right. This is, and we were still not old enough for Pixar. There's another decade or so before that happens. After
Jim, I'm
that.
still not old. Will always firmly be in the age bracket for Pixar movies.
Yeah. So it loses to Finding Nemo. I'm not gonna give you the number because we'll talk about that next week, right?
Save those juicy numbers for next time.
Uh,
Titillate
in
me.
third place opening this weekend in a
Oh,
very
boy.
distant third.
Oh,
behind
boy, here we
Bruce
go.
Almighty, 19.5 million. The Mark Wahlberg heist spectacular, The Italian Job.
Dude, let's go. Jim, hot take. So I had never seen the original Italian Job. I
Uh-huh.
just got a chance this past year to correct myself. Watch the original with Michael Caine. Solid movie, not gonna lie. Enjoyable.
How many Mini Coopers did it have?
I don't think the original had any, if
It
I'm thinking about it.
didn't have any Mini Coopers. I mean, why would I ever want to watch that one?
I think the new one introduced the Mini Coopers. In the original, they do something completely different.
Yeah,
And I can't
no,
tell you what that is because I already put that movie out of my mind because I did not enjoy it as much as the Mark Wahlberg Italian Job. I'm going to be honest with you right there.
for real. How much money do you think Mini Cooper gave them? Like, there's like 12 people driving a Mini Cooper in that movie.
Well, I'm sure they paid for the entire production right there.
Mini Coopers was like, come on, guys, they're cool. Mark Wahlberg drives them on heists.
Yeah, listen, we're going to give you one in every single color we got. It's going to be great. You'll put Jason Statham behind one. You'll put Charlize. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then so the Italian Job comes in third, a distant third, like almost $20 million behind
It's
Bruce
a hard
Almighty.
third. That's rough. Sorry, boys.
Matrix is hanging around here in fourth. Daddy Daycare is hanging around in fifth, and then another opening this weekend, another movie I don't know, 5.1 million down in sixth place. Wrong Turn. Does that sound familiar to you?
Horror movie. I think the
Oh,
first one has Elijah Dushku in it.
sure.
I think I could be completely wrong on that
Sounds
one.
good.
Yeah. Not only could I be completely wrong on that, I'm not even sure if I pronounced her last name correctly. So that's how all over the place I am on that gamble, Jim.
Yeah. And I just there's not really I know since I know we're doing Finding Nemo next, I'm gonna kind of save some of this stuff, and I think we'll just
So we'll
jump
just
to
just ride Bruce out.
yeah. So
But not
weekend
as suggestive as I just said it like that. We mean him out of the box office, not actually ride Bruce.
Sure. Weekend three, it comes in third place, 40.1% drop down to 22.3 million. Weekend four, it holds third place,
Yeah, baby.
36.3% drop. This is pretty good. Um, weekend four, a 31.1% drop in fourth.
Dude, I'm
So
sensing a run, baby.
it stays in the top five there for 5 weekends, which is pretty impressive.
It's good. Yeah, that it's riding through the summer like that because we'll go through it as weeks go on, but 2003 was a stacked summer.
Yeah, I mean, we'll cover these weeks a little bit more in depth when we do Finding Nemo, I think. But yeah, so it hangs in the top five for those 5 weeks, and then finally drops out of the top 10 down in weekend eight.
Dude. So wait, so is that 8 weeks in the top 10 or the eighth week it's out? So it's seven
The eighth
weeks.
week it's out, so it's 7 weeks.
Ooh, so close. But hey, yeah, so it's joining the median average then, Jim. That 7 weeks seems to be that threshold where a lot of these blockbusters from this era tend to end up. So it's joining other movies like Armageddon, The Mummy Returns, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Star Wars Episode 2, and X2, X-Men United.
Okay.
So it's joining a league of franchise players, which is good for Bruce Almighty. For a movie that's coming out, this original comedy is playing with the big boys.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get to the totals right now. And these totals are like baffling to me, right? So again, this is against an $81 million budget. Domestic, it pulls in 242.8 million. International, 241.8 million. For a worldwide total of $484.6 million.
Jim Carrey had to have been, for his run in the 90s and early 2000s, the most bankable comedy actor of all time, right?
Yeah, that's like insane to me that this movie almost pulled in $500 million. Like, there's no way on God's green earth could a comedy movie get even close to that these days, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
No.
Deadpool maybe counts as a comedy.
But not like a straight comedy. Like it has comedic elements, but that's not a comedy movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it
that's
is,
fair.
but like there's too many other genres floating in there to really consider it part of the league. Like this is a straight comedy that is relying solely on the jokes to get you through the
Right.
finish line, and this
Right. At the
almost
very least,
breezes.
at the very least, Deadpool is like an action comedy. You know what I mean? Like there's like another draw there, and
Yeah,
like it's part of the Marvel universe, and Hugh Jackman's playing Wolverine in it. Like there's a lot of like cool
there's so
stuff
many other
that's separate
asterisks.
from it being a silly comedy movie.
Yeah, like this is like if you're not in on Jim Carrey's shtick, you're not going to have a good time with this movie. This movie is so dependent on that, and it breezes to almost 500 million. Like that's filthy.
Yeah, and I
44
mean,
point. Yeah, go on.
this has got to be the most successful movie Jennifer Aniston's ever been in, right? Like,
Oh, for sure.
Is there one that's even close?
No, honestly, this might be the most successful Jim Carrey movie. I don't think a lot of his other movies have ever hit this high.
Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later. Maybe we'll bring that up in IMDb deep dive. See if we can see where this lands on Jim Carrey's
Pantheon of films.
yeah, like on the overall box office, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's definitely. I would imagine if it's not number one, it's definitely top five for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll get back to it later.
We'll get
I
there.
might try and
So
check for him and
so you said so just for confirmation, you said it was 484.6.
yeah.
Oh, Jim, that's a close race right there. So Bruce Almighty is going to take the number 12 spot, just beating out Shrek's 484.4.
Wow.
Yeah, and then sits right behind Gladiator, which did 503.1. So that is absolutely huge. And then that 242 domestic is good enough to put it just outside the top 10 in the number 11th spot behind Jim Carrey's previous movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which did 260, but ahead of Castaway's 233.
Yeah, dude, the most insane part of this though is that he pulled in 200 almost 242 million international.
Yeah. Yeah, those
I mean,
numbers were like right on top of each other. Like that's
like
filthy
just
good.
about half of its worldwide gross comes from the international market, which is insane to me.
Yeah, it's nuts. But dude, this movie was a huge success everywhere. This was the fifth highest grossing movie of 2003, beating out big franchises like it beat out The Matrix Revolutions, it beat out Terminator 3, X2, X-Men United, and Bad Boys 2. So you have huge franchises here that this
Yeah.
movie just leaping over.
Like movies that like they've made installments of in the last couple of years, right? Like Bad Boys. What were the other ones?
Matrix
Oh,
Revolutions.
The Matrix. Yeah, I guess I mean they
X-Men.
made a Matrix movie a couple of years ago, and then yeah, X-Men.
Yeah, and can you imagine when Terminator 2 came out that somebody was like, "Hey, a comedy where Jim Carrey pretends to be God is going to do better than the sequel to this movie."
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that anybody would have said that.
Yeah. I would have been like, "Shut your
That's-
fucking mouth."
I don't know what conversation people were having where like somebody would say that to me.
Yeah, especially since like when I think Terminator 2 came out, Jim Carrey was only known for In Living Color, so that would have been even more hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Be
the
like,
guy
"Hey, you
who
know the
plays
white guy
Lifeguard.
on In Living Color? Yeah, he's gonna beat out the sequel to this movie sometime in the year 2003." They'd be like, "What drugs are you on, and can you give them to me?"
So ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so
Critically,
do you have the critic stuff?
I do.
I'm
So I do
dying
have
to
the
know
critic
what the
stuff.
cinema
A
score
little
is.
bit more, a little bit more conservative on the critical reception. A bit more mixed compared to what it did, dollars wise, at least. So it's
Okay.
actually rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is,
Whoa.
yeah, I was not expecting that. I thought it would at least be, right around the bottom, but still fresh on that sweet thermometer. But this is actually sitting with a 48% from the critics and actually a 57 from the audience.
So the audience is pretty lukewarm on it too.
The audience pretty middled on it also. I would have thought the audience would at least been in like the mid to high 70s. So definitely
Yeah.
on a lower end than what I thought. IMDb sitting around 6.8, so just under the average. But that sweet cinema score, baby, is always here to save the day.
Yeah,
Got
I
an
always am
A, an A cinema score. So it beat out the A minus.
No minus. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like above average.
Yeah, so like that's big. An A cinema score is indicative of a good movie, and it showed at the box office. But I guess
Yeah.
at least when people
Cinema
sat back and
score-
thought about it,
I'll tell you what, cinema score means something. I don't know what it means, but it means something.
yeah, when
A is important.
it's hitting high, it's got some integrity, baby. But when it's hitting those B pluses, I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah, it's so funny.
For the first time,
like
I will say, as
Either
a quick,
movie gets an A and I'm blown away, or a movie gets an A minus and I'm kind of like, eh, you know.
you're like, what is this
Whatever,
dog
A
shit?
minus is nothing to write home about.
Right? You're like A minus. Who wrote this crap? I saw the lowest cinema score I think ever in my life the other day with Francis Ford Coppola's new movie Megalopolis came out and it got a D.
Oh boy,
Yep, that's a cinema
I-
score.
I am definitely gonna go see that. is
Oh, I
where I'm
also
going
am
with
definitely gonna go see that.
that. It looks wild.
It looks out of control, and as soon as I saw the D, it means I gotta see it now.
Yeah, right. Because what could possibly be so offensive to the cinema score audience that always gives movies either an A or an A
Right.
minus?
Like it's almost like when it's that really terrible cinema score, I'm like, I need to see this even more than if I saw it was an A. I now need to know what turned all these people off so badly.
So unbelievable.
It's out of control. But yeah, so let's
but Bruce Almighty falls into our familiar range, so it gets an A.
Yeah. falling into the A, and I can definitely see why. This is a movie that I can easily see opening weekend like families going to and just having an absolute ball with this movie. It's a movie that gives you exactly what you want out of such a high concept premise. They're like, hey, what if a guy, was like mad at the world, felt like got shortchanged, and God, took that personally and was like, you think you can do better? Here's my powers. And the guy who gets to do that is Jim Carrey. Like that's such a perfect high concept premise. You ride that right to the bank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's like the way the premise plays out is really well done too, in my opinion. Because I guess we can kind of jump into the movie itself now, right? We're through all the hoops in the beginning.
Oh yeah, we're through all the hoopla. I'm ready to hear some thoughts.
So like, I know that this isn't a romantic comedy in the same way that some of the other movies we have done are like were,
Yeah.
but we always talk about in the romantic comedies how awful the main characters are in them. And Bruce Almighty, really, I think this works for any comedy because a lot of like bad things are going to happen to the person that's the head of your comedy. We talk about this all the time, right? So like, it's imperative that I hate Bruce. I really need to hate him for him to like work in this movie the way it's constructed. And boy, oh boy, is he the worst.
Oh yeah, no,
So awful.
they do a great job in the first act of making you hate this man's guts, and you have to, because especially if by the end, yeah, pretty much throughout the majority of this
the
movie,
whole movie, he is such a piece of garbage.
But in order, if we're gonna get to that cathartic place at the end where he's finally gonna learn and choose to be a better person and learn his value, he needs to be a piece of shit in the beginning.
Yeah, and like, man, it's just like it was like it was working because I was so invested in him just because my jaw was on the floor at how like he's a total psychopath in this
Oh
movie.
yeah. Oh no,
Like,
absolutely.
so okay, so first of all, if your first reaction to anything is to start yelling at God, like what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like what
Not
are you
only
doing?
not only just yell at God, but like pull over on the side of the road, scream at the sky,
Yeah,
type of
like
yell at
crash
God.
your car into a pole and then like get into it with God because you got your prayer beads. Like, dude, take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. You
Never
know?
mind. Like take stock of the good. You're dating quite possibly one of the hottest women on the planet. Like,
Yeah,
I think
she
life's
invented a haircut. She
yeah.
invented a haircut. Like, you're doing all right, man.
And it's so funny how it's such trivial stuff too. Like he's throwing his hands up into the air because like he can't get his dog to piss outside. Like it's like, what have I done to deserve such treatment?
Right, exactly. Like, dude, which it's perfect for the movie because part of the whole point of the movie is like you have the power to do some of this shit for yourself. Like, maybe if you just put like, I don't know, a little effort into training your dog, he might not piss all over everything, you know? Like,
It's amazing.
so
He's
it works for the movie. But then he gets the powers of the Lord God. Like, he can do literally anything he wants. And like, he immediately starts doing the craziest, most self-centered shit in the world. Like, the first thing he does is like, all right, I can do anything. I can help anybody. I can like make shit appear out of nowhere. The first thing I'm gonna do is go into an alley and torture those guys. Like,
I had completely forgotten that part of it. Like this movie, watching it this time, has a lot more edge to it. Like I remember watching this as a kid and just being like, it's just a fun, like comedy, kind of a romantic comedy. It's got some bite on it. Like that whole scene is certifiable. He basically rapes that dude. Like he has a monkey jump up that dude's rectum.
yeah, there's no basically about it, dude.
Yeah.
It's just what happened.
Like he violently assaults this man
Yeah,
with the
and like
powers of Jesus Christ, our Lord and
Yeah.
Savior God.
Like, and that's like the first thing he does, like after he gets the power. Like he's doing like all kinds of stuff. He blows up like a fire hydrant, just I guess because that's like a cool visual, but like as like the person with the power of God, why? Like
Yeah,
the
immediately
first thing you do is
uses it.
commit property damage? What are
Yeah.
you thinking?
And then immediately uses it to blow up the woman's skirt. He's like, he saw and it was good.
Yeah, like, dude, exactly. Like, he's like, as soon as he has the power, he's doing like all of the worst things you can think of. Like shit where it's like, why would you like, dude, you're awful. Like,
He's immediately just doubling down on being the worst human being in this movie.
yeah, and then he does that for the whole movie. Like he never like even when God's like, listen, man, like you wanted the job, you gotta like answer people's prayers. Everybody's praying to you because you're God. Remember, we talked about this. And the first thing he does is like, man, that's a lot of prayers. Sounds good. Like he
Sets
just,
up like a chain thread on his email.
yeah, he couldn't even put like 2 minutes of energy into the whole like actual point of being God. Like the things he was asking for in the beginning, he was like everybody else wanted it, and he's like, ah, fuck him. Like,
Yeah, he's like, as long as I'm getting mine, baby.
yeah, and
But
then
I
yeah,
like
he
that. I
eventually
like that
gives
he's
everyone what they want.
yeah, no, but it's great. It works for the movie in the sense that we're watching this horrible dude get the greatest power in the world and continue to just bungle his way through it until he reached such a devastating point that it's either learn and grow from this or you're done. You're going to lose the love of your life, you're going to lose your
Yeah,
job, you're going to lose everything because you can't get over and just grow the way you should have done years ago cuz you're a grown ass man.
yeah, dude. And by the way, it wasn't when he caused a tidal wave in Japan. That wasn't the part that like woke him up that maybe he was being a little bit out there. It wasn't like all the riots in the streets that he created.
The meteor
It
strike,
was that Jennifer Aniston was gonna leave him.
which to be fair, I mean, I probably would also raise some bells for me too. I'm like, man, I should probably start taking stuff seriously now.
Yeah, he's so self-centered, and like maybe my biggest gripe with this movie is that they don't really redeem him enough by the end, you know?
Yeah, well, I feel that's like it's always a tough case in movies like this, especially when we're looking back on it with like a lens of today's scope. Because how do you redeem a dude who is, throughout this movie has committed copious amounts of assault, um, like violently physical and sexual assault in some scenarios. Like
Yeah,
you could argue that the way he like manipulates his girlfriend into being super horny, like in those scenes, is
pretty
very
crazy. Yeah,
certifiable. Like
pretty crazy.
pretty
Kind of like a
crazy.
bit
Like
weird.
he pulls the moon out of orbit and then just starts like attacking her with god hands, like while she's in
Yeah,
the
like through the
bathroom.
wall. And then like, dude, so like this I
They're
guess this
so
is what I
horny.
mean when I say he doesn't quite redeem himself, right? So like that's the stuff he's doing in the beginning. By the
Yeah.
end, when he's supposed to have learned the lesson, or really this is probably the scene where he's like learning it, you know what I mean? he he realizes that she prays for him, and the first thing he does is go log into the email server and start spying on her intimate conversations with God. Like he's like it's like my ex-girlfriend is praying to God for the power to move on from me, and I'm staring at it through her window. Like
Yeah.
it's insane.
For that, he's like, I should learn now. And then from there, all he does is just go meet God, and they just mop some floors together, and he learns some Zen peace, and we're back, baby.
Yeah, right. He mops some floors and he's like, ah, man, I wasn't so great, huh? Gee shucks.
Yeah, right. Like all he did at that point was decide that even if she isn't with him, he just wants her to be happy. And they're like, he's learned his lesson. It's like
Yeah, I'm
I
not,
don't
and
think.
I mean, like, I think part of his lesson too is realizing that it's not so easy being God, you know? You want the power, but then when you have it, it's like it's not all it's cracked up to be.
It's not
Like,
not easy sitting on top of the throne, baby.
yeah, and that's why you should have some goddamn reverence.
Yeah, right. And listen, all he really needed to learn was to take pleasure in the simple things in life.
Yeah. So like I don't
Like,
know, but like overall, does this movie get a lot of laughs out of you?
yeah, I actually thought this movie was really funny. I'm not gonna lie, like even saying all the like crazy, like all that stuff he does is absolutely insane, and in a real life setting is like, dude, that dude's certifiable, like lock him up. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't laugh during all those scenes too. Like it's structured in a way like it gets the laugh. Like I
Yeah,
still was like, this movie is absurdly silly.
it's less the stuff once he's gone that makes me laugh. A lot of the beginning makes me laugh, and then I mean, like, there's definitely some good stuff in there too in the middle. When he has the meteor crash in the background of
Yeah.
the Mark Twain chili cook-off.
That like those the fun and games portion of this movie when he first has the powers and he's using it to like advance his career and he's doing like he's finding the body of Jimmy Hoffa, like all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, hits
fact that it's
so hard.
Jimmy Hoffa is so great too.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Jim Carrey is such a gifted comedic actor, but also like the scenarios are just so absurdly silly. Like he's doing a chili thing and he's just like bored, so he just snipes in a meteor strike to spice up the event.
Yeah, yeah, and he's dressed up as Mark Twain.
It's so stuff
I
like that
forgot.
hits so good.
Yeah, I forgot it was Jimmy Hoffa too. That's so hilarious. The
Oh, it
body of
makes it
Jimmy Hoffa was found.
makes it so funny, and that's a great joke. Also, that hits so much better for me now because I feel like when this first came out in 2003, I didn't have any understanding of who Jimmy
Yeah.
Hoffa was or anything like that. I was just
Well,
like,
dude,
oh, they found a dead body. Like that's funny. Like
yeah, I definitely wouldn't have gotten it back then, but as an adult, I'm like, dude, if I saw that on the news, I would totally watch. Like
yeah,
I would totally want to know what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. That's wild, you know?
yeah, like it works so much better now. Like hits so much harder. So all that stuff is super funny. So it all hits hard for me. I think this movie is really good at aping a lot of what Jim Carrey does so well. Those facial expressions, the very like manic interactions of him. He's just so larger than life,
Yeah.
in a way that you don't really get from comedy stars today. Everyone
Yeah,
today is so subdued, and like comedy today is more about like the delivery of a joke and somebody saying something funny in a certain way instead of this like maniacal presence of more of your 90s comedy actors, like your Jim Carreys, your Mike Myers, people like that.
yeah, Jim Carrey has like a physical like shtick about him. You know what I mean? Like similar to like what the way Kevin Hart has, I would say, is like the last person that I've seen where I was like, it's not necessarily the same, but it's similar. Like a lot of what he's doing is how he's moving and how erratic he is and all that stuff.
Which is such a big portion, I feel like, of comedy that gets lost today. Because that's physical comedy is some of my favorite comedy in all of film history. You look
Yeah,
at
and
like
I mean,
like people like Chris Farley were so good at it. Like you even go all the way back, like the Marx Brothers were so funny with just like physical zany humor.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, Jim Carrey is like one of the best at it, especially in 2003, right?
Yeah,
But
like you
so,
could find.
question. You said
Yes.
you got some laughs out of this movie. What did you think of Steve Carell in this?
Oh, easy to see why he would go on to such huge success. That scene alone where he has to do the gibberish is such a good command of your instrument. He's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of skill into just like spouting gibberish like that and being
And to
like
make it funny
doing it, like
still.
enunciating it and like switching into it. Like, there's definitely something there. But like, that was the movie. Like, that was the part of the movie where I was like, is this a kid's movie? Because like Steve Carell literally gets to the point where he's like, doody, doody caca. Like, he's like saying like, it's like it's
The
so
most
childish,
But I think that's kind of the point is in that moment Bruce is a child in this movie in a sense.
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. Right, he is very childish. Like he's very self-centered.
Like he's this adult man who is going through lessons that he should have gotten over in like his 20s.
Although I gotta say, I took some personal offense to him not like them putting him in a bad light for not wanting to fill in the photo album because it's like, come on, who really wants to fill in a photo album? You know what I mean?
Is fair.
I was
Listen,
watching that and I'm like, totally can relate.
listen.
Like,
He was out of pocket for a lot of stuff, but some things he was making some sense on. Yeah.
yeah, but no, so I mean, all right. So I thought like Steve Carell was kind of hit or miss, and like especially that part, I was like, all right, who are we really after here with this movie? Because this is like so silly.
It is very silly and it is very over the top. But as far as at least the way he plays it, I think Steve Carell crushes it. And I also like how he even is before that. Like he's so smarmy he just has a very good command of what he's doing in that movie, and you can see why he got The Office from this because
Yeah, yeah.
he's just great.
That no,
And it,
that is fair. Yeah, that is fair. He's good in it. He is
yeah,
good in it.
yeah, he's
Just
great.
a couple of parts, man.
Yeah, no, it is silly. Like the delivery of it and what, like the scene itself is absolutely absurd, and it's so ridiculously childish. But as far as like for me, what he's doing in it, I'm always whenever that scene comes on, I'm always just super impressed at what he's doing because he has to do all that and be as ridiculous and make it funny while also being of the character of where he's trying to convey that he doesn't understand why he's doing this,
Right.
so like he's making that crazy stuff with his mouth, but you could see in his eyes that he's also like there's pure terror behind what he's doing at the same time.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. No,
So
I get
like
what you're
from a
saying.
skill level, I'm like this scene's super impressive. Like what Steve Carell's putting down is super impressive. But I get what you're
Yeah.
saying where it is a ridiculously childish like scene.
Yeah, just like the way just the things he's saying are so like
I
yeah,
made
it's
a
like stuff you
dookie
would
in my
hear on an
pants.
elementary schoolyard, you know?
Yeah. He's like, I am a poopy head.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I think I would say I covered most of my positives and negatives for it. Was there anything like any other scenes that stuck out to you or any other things you want to bring up in this one?
No, I think it's a fun movie. I think for me, like the biggest thing I could say in the negative is it kind of doesn't have a lot. I mean, I get why there's not really much for Morgan Freeman to do. He's kind of there to come in the beginning, come in the end. You know, I feel like Jennifer Aniston kind of gets a little shortchanged here. She doesn't have as much. She kind of has to play the straight character to his like zany and out of control stuff, which
Yeah.
is always a tight balancing act to play. But I feel like they could have given her a little bit more to do and play with in this movie. She's kind of just there to service what he's going through in this movie. And
Right.
then by the end, she's just supposed to be like, oh, I love you. Let's get back together. And it's like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
I guess that's, yeah, obviously we have to get there. But at the same time, maybe I could have used a little more meat on that.
Right. Like this is the kind of movie where most of the meat on the bone is with him doing stuff with the powers of God, right? So like the romance is a bit more of like seasoning and Jennifer Aniston, like you said, is just there to be a big thing he can lose at the end and then be something he can get back at the very end, you know?
Exactly.
Like it's like she's a possession in a weird kind of way, in the way
Yeah,
that a
exactly.
lot of like lead women were in movies in the early 2000s.
She's more just like a trope. She's just a season for the main meal, but she's not the main, but she's not the meal. She's not a, like if you took out the seasoning, do we really lose that much out of the meal?
Yeah, I mean, that depends.
Yeah, I
Depends.
don't know.
Depends on the meal, my friend.
This is true. Very true. I don't know.
Um,
Don't ask my vanilla palate.
yeah. Yeah, right. I made tacos with extra hot chili powder and it was too much. I take it all back.
We're the wrong people to be asking. But yeah, but other than that, you know, I'm always a Jim Carrey, one of the biggest Jim Carrey fans from a kid. So this movie was always gonna still have that nostalgia factor for me. So I still got a lot of fun out of this. So it's just a fun, enjoyable comedy in an era where we were going to start getting less and less Jim Carrey comedies like this. So I appreciate this movie just for the high concept value that it still gives watching on Revalue today. Because they don't make movies like this anymore, especially comedy movies.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And like I also appreciate it for launching the illustrious voice acting career of one Morgan Freeman.
That is true. Yeah, he definitely got March of the Penguins off of this, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Easily. Now, Jim, I'm curious. A movie like this definitely had to hit hard with the teens of our generation. So I'm wondering if it was sniffing around any Teen Choice Awards, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, so let's get into it, right? So this movie will start as always with the awards.
You in for a
Um,
Golden Globe for Best Comedy, right?
Golden Globe for best comedy. No, I don't think it won a Golden Globe. Hold on.
Ah,
I have the individual pages up, but I just want to go to like the main awards page for the movie itself. So Bruce Almighty gets 7 wins and 9 nominations.
oh yeah.
We are not going to go over all of the wins here because most of them I will promise you I don't care about. I will say that Morgan Freeman wins an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture.
Respect, respect. I mean, you kind of have to. He's God, for God's sakes.
Yeah. It's a 2004 winner, the People's Choice Award for Favorite Comedy Motion Picture.
There we go. Give it to the people.
And then those are the only, like, those are the two, those are, I think I said 2 wins there, or was there 3 wins there?
2 wins?
I skipped a couple, but now we're going to get to the real stuff that everyone really cares about, right?
What everyone at home is tuning in for.
In the 2004 Kids' Choice Awards.
Oh, dude, forget the teens, baby. Insane. Insane that this movie's nominated for Kids' Choice Awards. This movie is not for children.
It is. That's what I'm telling you, though, dude. It is for children. That's like it hit me when that Steve Carell part was on. I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is for like 9-year-olds. Like,
just hilarious. It's amazing.
I'm gonna steal a kind of a headline from next week.
Okay.
Bruce Almighty's nominated for the Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Movie.
Okay.
Amongst other heavy hitters like Daddy Daycare and Elf, but eventually losing to Finding Nemo.
All right, so burying the lead there, but it's all right. Wow, that's gotta say, one of those movies not like the other. And Bruce, it's definitely you.
Yeah, right. that's definitely the one. It is gonna be a winner of a Kids' Choice Award, though.
Right.
It is the winner of the Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Movie Actor, Jim Carrey, as Bruce Nolan.
Absolutely. Well deserved. Who did he beat?
He beat out Ashton Kutcher for Just Married, Eddie Murphy for Daddy Daycare, and The Haunted Mansion, and Mike Myers for a movie that I am praying is coming up soon, The Cat in the Hat.
Oh, it's in the pipe. Before we close the book on 2003, we'll be getting there.
Yeah. Another like absolute classic that we always must look at, the 2004 MTV Movie Awards.
Oh yeah.
It is nominated for. It doesn't win any MTV Movie Awards. Jim Carrey's nominated for Best Comedic Performance.
Who's he up against? Or who wins? Yeah, if he's not winning. Swear to God.
He loses to Jack Black from School of Rock.
All right, that's fair.
Which I'd say is fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's also nominated for, and I am at a loss to tell you what specific part of the movie they are talking about with.
Oh boy.
But it was nominated for Best Kiss. Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston.
All right, yeah, sure. Why not?
I mean, and we talked about this Best Kiss in the X2 episode, because that was also nominated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not like an iconic kiss that I can think of. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no.
Like, I can picture the kiss from X2 when they kiss and she starts to like drain like the fucking life out of him. You know?
Yeah, like I'm guessing they're just doing the kiss at the end when everything's all hunky dory again.
I guess maybe either that or the one where they're on the like the balcony with the moon.
That one's a little bit suggestive.
So but anyway, it's nominated for Best Kiss. I think it probably didn't deserve to be, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Definitely not.
And then it's the winner of a Teen Choice Award, a 2003 Teen Choice Award. It also, in those Teen Choice Awards, gets nominated for Jennifer Aniston gets nominated for Choice Movie Actress. Jim Carrey gets nominated with. So okay, this is actually a good one. Choice Movie Chemistry. Jim Carrey and fill in the blank.
Oh boy, who he had the best chemistry with for this nomination?
Yeah. Who did the teens choose for his best chemistry here?
Oh my God. Okay, so it's definitely not Jennifer Aniston.
No.
I feel like God is too easy to lay up.
Okay.
I hope it's not the monkey.
No, it's not the. Come on, dude. If it's not Jennifer Aniston, who does it have to be? Come on.
Is God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I felt like you were teaming me up for
Jim
one.
Carrey and Morgan Freeman, and then it eventually wins the 2003 Kids' Choice Award for Choice Movie Actor in a Comedy. Jim Carrey. So Jim Carrey was sweeping in these
Yeah, he's
comedy actors with kids and teens.
had to have showed up for all these awards, right? I feel like Jim Carrey's the kind of guy who would show up and do something funny for it.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I have to see. I bet you on Wikipedia, I could see who like presented at these things. I bet
Is the
you I could
kids
figure it out.
is the Kids Choice Awards the Nickelodeon one where they like slime you? Like you definitely showed up to that one, right?
Yeah, it was the yeah, that's the one where they slime you. Yeah, the
Yeah.
hosts that year were Mike Myers and Cameron Diaz.
Oh boy, what a team!
Outcast got two awards. I don't know for what, but they won for something.
Outcast. This is what 2003. It couldn't have been
Yeah,
Idlewild yet.
2003 Kids Choice Awards. All right, and then for the actor, I think we'll do Jim Carrey, right?
Jimmy
Because
boy.
did we talk about him with How the Grinch Stole Christmas? I don't remember.
Don't think we did.
I don't know.
No, we did Ron Howard.
Oh, that's right. Good call.
Yeah, we did Ronnie Boy because we knew Jim Carrey would come up later and here's his time.
Yeah. So the first credit here is a movie in 1981 called Rubber Face. It's a TV movie.
Sounds absurd.
Yeah, I only bring it up because I usually skip over TV movies, but I only bring it up because this is something that I feel like I saw in video stores all the time when I was a kid. And like that was like a big part of how I knew who Jim Carrey was like him making like a funny face on the Rubber Face cover.
Stay.
But the first like real thing that I believe he's popular for, and we can verify this right here, the first thing I can see that he's really popular for is got to be In Living Color, right?
Yeah, that's really where he makes his start. Is on In Living Color, which great sketch comedy show.
Yeah, one of the all-time classics.
Yeah, he had a lot of great funny characters on that, and it's funny that he never because you see it so much on Saturday Night Live in the 90s where they would take successful like sketch characters and make movies out of them. And they never did that with any of the sketch characters out of In Living Color.
Yeah, I mean, well, wasn't Martin Lawrence on that show? He definitely made some movies, but not like out of sketch characters.
But not out of sketches. I think that show just propelled a lot of them into the limelight, but they never used any of the sketches to create feature lengths.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, so in Living Color comes out. Okay, no. So he's in some more stuff before then. Hold on. We talked about Rubberface. There's a few things that I don't really know here, but then in 1985 he's in Once Bitten. Do you remember that cheesy 80s vampire movie?
Yeah. God, that movie is
I'm
absurd.
pretty sure he's the main character in that too, right?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah, 1986. This is an old movie I haven't seen in a long time. Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh, yeah, there's a movie.
Yep, he's in that. 1988. As James Carrey, he plays Johnny Squares in what I am pretty sure, just on the based on the title, is the sequel to Dirty Harry, the Deadpool, or like one of the sequels to Dirty Harry.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the sequels. I think it's the last one. Right? Is he an actor or is he a musician? Jim Carrey, I think, in that one.
I don't remember him in that movie. I haven't seen that in a long time, but he's
Yeah,
credited
he's in
as
that.
Johnny Squares.
Liam Neeson's in it too.
Yeah,
That movie's all
That's-
over the place.
I haven't seen the Deadpool in a while. I might have to watch it because
Yeah, neither have I. I haven't seen that one in forever. Yeah, but I think Jim Carrey's character was either like an actor that he has to deal with or a musician.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then in 1988, he's in Earth Girls Are Easy, that Gina Davis movie with
Oh,
like,
that's
the aliens.
Yeah, with like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum plays one of
Yeah.
the aliens. Jim Carrey does, and I forget who the third one is.
Amazing. Like what a movie.
And then
God,
then
we
he's
used
on it.
we
So
used to make
that's-
cinema, Jim.
Yeah, that's all before In Living Color. And then in 1990, he starts In Living Color. He's on In Living Color through 1994.
Nice.
And that's when like
And
some
that's
of these like really big time movies are gonna
yeah,
start
that's
coming,
that's
right?
when he really hits his stride. He might have one of the biggest debuts ever.
So let's talk about 1994 because we talk about runs a lot, right? Like a stretch of movies coming out in a row, and I get particularly pumped up when they all come out in the same year.
It's insane to put out that type of that work put.
So 1994, he has Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber.
All in yeah, dude.
Those
It's
all come out in 1994. I mean,
yeah,
those are like three of the most iconic comedy movies ever, right? Like they're
ever. Yeah.
definitely up there.
And he busts out of the gate with Ace. 15 million budget, pulls back 107 million. And then you got a few months later, The Mask comes out. And to just prove how quickly he became an overnight sensation from Ace Ventura, The Mask, $18 million budget, pulls in 351.6 million. That's a few months later from Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
He creates a bona fide hit.
Yeah, and I mean Dumb and Dumber is like a lot
Dumb and
of
Dumber
people
also.
would tell you that's the funniest movie ever made, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. And that one's right around there too. Pulls in 247.3 million. So
yeah.
very quickly, this kid, he be just right to the moon.
So then 1995 is his next movie, Batman Forever. So
Which
what are your thoughts on Batman Forever? Where does it land in the original like four Batman movies for you?
so obviously number one is Batman and Robin. But a close second is Batman Forever. Don't even think
Dude,
about those
stop.
two.
Batman and Robin's not number one. Shut up. Is it really like for you? Be serious.
Okay. No, so obviously Batman Returns is my favorite.
Okay, yeah,
Then
I'm with you on that.
then Batman, then Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I think you got it right. Batman Forever, I liked it a lot as a kid. I don't know if it really holds up. Tommy
Yeah,
Lee Jones is insane in it,
yeah,
though. I
it
will
is
say that.
so absurd. But it is very entertaining in a way that only 90s movies found a way to be.
So that maybe breaks up the run a little bit, but I have another run of three
But I mean,
movies
but you
here.
could argue still that his run as a huge success is still big because that movie pulls in 336 million. So like he's putting out that throughput.
Yeah, and we're up to so if you started Ace Ventura, we're up to four movies: Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, and Batman Forever. Now listen to these next three. These are his next three theatrical releases: 1995, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Love that movie.
It's so funny. 1996, The Cable Guy.
A movie that they didn't know what they had back then. Movie holds up
So funny.
so good. That movie's so dark and demented.
Yeah, he's in like some cable like music video that I guess uses Cable Guy footage. Then in 1997, his next movie, Liar Liar.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest hits. That movie pulled in 302, Jim. $302
Yeah.
million. A movie about a dude who can't lie for a day.
And now finally the fourth movie in this run, 1998, The Truman Show.
Just
Jim Carrey is on
immaculate.
fucking fire
Yeah.
in the 90s, dude. Like
immaculate, dude. Like
it's insane how on fire he is.
and Truman Show is such a good like step up for him too, because he's still doing it where he can still be kind of like the affable, like funny Jim, but that movie's got like a nice undertone of dramatic like elements to it that he could showcase some range while also being classic Jim.
Yeah, it's just
Stellar. It's
like
stellar work.
this might be the best run of movies that we've ever seen. Like to date on this show that I've looked at. I mean,
This-
from 1994 to 1998, he's like 6 for 7 here, right? Like,
Dude, he just crushes. There's a reason why he was the GOAT.
yeah. And then I mean, like 99, Man on the Moon comes out. I'm skipping over Simon Birch, which I don't know if you remember that movie.
I think it's fair to cut over that one.
It's like with the little tiny kid, and he's on the bus that falls into the lake or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's wild.
what a movie.
But then then he plays Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon, which again, like just like that's such an iconic performance, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know that anybody makes that movie as good as Jim Carrey made it. So
Oh,
like,
definitely not.
Me, Myself, and Irene, which I know is one you love.
Underrated classic, that movie.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which we've talked about, we both love. And
That
then
then he
yeah,
makes
then
our
then
favorite movie.
then he has a big miss here, 2001, The Majestic.
Whoa, Jim, what are we talking about? Miss here. Are you out of your mind?
You saw that?
Listen,
Did you like The Majestic? You didn't like
listen, just
that.
because a movie makes $37 million on a $72 million budget and you're going to come around here calling it a miss?
Yeah. No, I mean it just as like a movie itself. I remember everyone hated that.
No,
Like
it is. That
everyone
movie,
was like that shit was stupid.
that movie was a turd, which is crazy that like Jim Carrey, Frank Darabont, like, yeah, come on, like, let's go. And then they were like, oh no, wait, oh, what were we saying?
Yeah. And then that gets us up to Bruce Almighty, which I think is where we'll stop because I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll come across Jim Carrey again.
Well, yeah, we still have plenty of movies down in the pipe that we're going to come to of his. So definitely a worthy spot to stop. But yeah, right there, that run, even right up to Bruce Almighty, like you got one certifiable miss in that whole run, which is the
Yeah.
Majestic.
I mean, two if you count Batman Forever, which I don't know.
Hey,
Like Batman
hey,
Forever
hey.
is at least very fun, so I don't know if I count it.
I don't think you can. I mean, like you could say, yeah, from a standpoint of how the movie is, it's a pretty like not great movie, but not critic, commercially, it did business, it made money.
Yeah. And you also like kind of left out Simon Birch too. So like maybe
All
three
right, all right.
misses. But the
I think
point
he's
is,
in
it's like
Simon Birch for
it's a
like
sick
2
run.
minutes.
It's a sick run.
It's a sick run. We'll start throwing your asterisks up on our boy here.
I don't know how big of a character he plays in Simon Birch. I'm not sure.
I don't think he's like a man. I'm pretty sure he's only in that movie for less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's credited as adult somebody, so it's probably like at the end or
Slash narrator. Yeah, I think he just plays the adult version of like a random character that's in the movie.
Gotcha.
I don't think he's in this movie for a long time.
I'm taking either Liar Liar or Cable Guy as my favorite, by the way. I'm taking one of those two.
Liar Liar or the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair. Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, so Eternal Sunshine Dramatic. As far as his comedy movie, I think I would take Dumb and Dumber.
yeah. Dumb and Dumber's up there.
Dumb and Dumber is great on a level that it just can't. It just can't be rivaled. It's so good.
Yeah, he's just such a doofus in it. It's
Yeah.
really great.
No matter which comedy movie, you could pick any of his classic comedies from the 90s and early 2000s, and you would have a very good argument for why it is the best. That's how good his output was
Yeah,
back then.
and I think that's where we're gonna stop this one. So we
Works for
can
me.
let's get into some stars.
I'm ready. Let's hit us up with some star ratings.
I'm not playing it.
Oh, ooh,
I
Jimbo.
refuse.
He
I
refuses.
I'm gonna be a
He's-
tough critic.
He's abstaining from the Roger Ebert drop, even though Roger Ebert was a big fan of this movie. He gave it
What did
three.
Raj give this?
He gave it 3 stars out of 4, Jim.
That's not bad.
Yeah, Raj was a big fan of this movie. Interesting little
Raj.
tidbit. Yeah, Raj, dude. Me and Raj are on first name
The
basis.
guy
here.
from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah,
hated this
you're
movie, dude. He
fucking
told
Raj.
me all about it.
That's Raj RAJ. This is Raj ROG.
I see.
Very heavy differences here, Jim. Roger Ebert called this movie a charmer, though, so he was all in on it. So we'll see if you're going to echo his sentiments, Jim. Let's hear it. Final thoughts and rating for Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, I mean it's funny, but like I do thank it for giving us Morgan Freeman as God. I think this is like kind of the point when Jennifer Aniston was like watching paint dry and when she was in a movie. Like she gets better and like gets to play more interesting people in some later movies, but she's kind of boring in this. Like I don't know. I think it's mostly not that good. So I would give it like a 2. Let's give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, a 2.5 from the Jimbo team. I'm gonna go just above you there, Jim. I'm gonna give it a 3-star. It's a fun, enjoyable movie. It does exactly what I want it to do, which is just Jim Carrey doing shenanigans as God. If you stop to look any deeper into those, it gets very questionable. But at the surface level, when I'm just enjoying myself, when I just want a silly Jim Carrey movie, it's a good time down at the theater. So this one goes down in the solid camp for me. So I'm going to give her a 3-er. So with a 3 from me and a 2.5 from you, Jimbo, that's going to give us a 5.5 here. We're going to go down, and there's actually only one other movie with a 5.5. So a pretty easy battle tonight, Jim. Do you take Bruce Almighty, or do you take the first X-Men?
I am gonna
Probably-
take the first X-Men.
Probably one of the saddest battles you have to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the first X-Men, and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I would take the first X-Men too. Also, when push comes to shove, if I had to between the two of those bad boys. So hey, it works for me. So that means Bruce Almighty is going to settle itself in the number 29 position, just behind Bruce Almighty, just behind X-Men's 5.5, and ahead of Pokemon the movies 5, which is a decent little spot.
That's a horrific injustice.
Yeah, all right, take it easy over there, Sailor. No, we're not doing any guesses for next week because obviously Jim already guessed it. We're diving into the animated classic, Pixar's run at the top. We're talking Finding Nemo, an absolute classic, a movie that you would be hard pressed to have lived anywhere in 2003 and not heard of this movie. This movie was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is back when Pixar was really like throwing their fastball, you know. So
Yeah, well, they were really hitting just homer after homer after homer. They could do absolutely no wrong, and they hit an absolute zeitgeist moment after zeitgeist moment with every movie. So this is obviously going to be a great fun one to dive into. Jimbo, do you have any recommendations for the people before we sign off tonight? What are you jamming on right now?
I'm trying to think if I watched anything besides these two movies this week that are worth mentioning. But no, I mean, I guess I watched The Road Warrior again. I rewatched
Oh my
that.
God.
Yeah, so I think that was my recommendation last week, and I rewatched
Was.
it again.
You were
It's
hard on
such a
your.
classic movie.
He took his own recommendation, people, which should be a sign for you to absolutely watch The Road Warrior.
Exactly.
That is.
What about you? I'm assuming you're still on ER.
Yeah, my TV game, I definitely am still in ER, but I did watch a movie the other night. The new George Clooney Brad Pitt movie dropped on Apple TV.
Oh, Lone
Wolves,
Wolves, right?
Wolves, yeah. So I gave that bad boy a spin. I mean, listen, if you like your Brad Pitt and you like your George Clooney, and who doesn't out there, you should give this movie a shot. This movie is a perfect dad movie. It's you just have it on with the boys, throw it on, you're gonna enjoy yourself. It's so unnecessarily convoluted, but goddamn if I didn't have a great time with the boys back.
Yeah, I liked the trailers for it. It seemed like the kind of movie they were just like, these two actors have chemistry, right? Let's just figure something out, you know?
That's exactly what the movie is. It's just, what's the plot? Don't worry. George Clooney and Brad Pitt are hitting zingers off of each other. You're like, yeah, you're right. I don't even care. Like, let's go. They're both hitmen. They got to work together. I'm in. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will never sign up for Apple TV, so
Ooh, big shame.
They missed out on my viewing by not releasing it in theaters.
What a shame. Maybe we could come to some sort of agreement. I could send you my info. Hush hush on the QT.
No, I mean, well, we'll talk about it.
But
We'll talk
Apple,
about it.
Apple, you certainly did not hear me say that here. I would never share things. Apple, don't listen to me.
There are maybe a few things that I've heard on there that are pretty good, so I maybe wouldn't mind.
Some possibilities. But yeah, if there's one great thing that this movie does well, it's that it gets you hyped for the possibility of Ocean's 14.
Is that like not like they're not? Why is there going to be an Ocean's 14? This is the first I've heard of this.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt are shopping it around.
How many oceans can there be? Gosh,
Jim, I'll take as many oceans as George and Brad want to give me.
So will it be? Do you think Sandra Bullock comes back for that movie? Like Danny Ocean wasn't dead then, right? He like faked his own death or something.
I think that was always the implication, was that he faked his death.
Was it? I don't know. She kind of like was mourning him there.
Well, they're gonna. I'm sure with making a 14, they're just gonna make it that was the implication.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like,
but I think you have to probably bring at least some of the girls in, and you should. I mean, Sandra Bullock and Kate Blanchett, yeah, bring them in, let them play off of Brad and George. I'm all for that. And you got to fill out the ranks again since we lost Bernie Mac, we lost Carl Reiner.
Yeah. I mean, Catherine Zeta-Jones, does she dip beneath the lasers in this one for you? What do you think?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like bring her back?
yeah.
Dip beneath the lasers.
That was too obscure of an entrapment reference for
Well,
you.
yeah, it took me a second to get on that bad boy. I was like, that's a deep cut reference right there. I think that, yeah, you got to, right? Figure out a way to bring him in, bring her and Julia back.
I mean, I thought she was delightful in Ocean's 12. I can't see why you wouldn't bring her back.
Get the whole band, get everybody, and then you got to bring in like one or two of the new crop of talent that's coming in to let them play off. Like you got to bring in like Timothy Chalamet, and he's the new Linus.
I'm gonna say it again, man. I'm gonna say it again. James Woke.
Oh yeah, dude, bring in our boy Jimmy Woke.
He's got it. He's got to be. He could do it, right? He could be in.
Dude, he
Ocean.
absolutely could be part of the team.
He could
Dude.
be.
He definitely, and he's worked with George Clooney already. He's got precedent.
Wait, when did he work with Clooney? Was that The Boys in the Boat?
Boys in the boat, baby.
The Boys in the Boat.
We already know he can take direction from George. He's learning under the masters. Like, oh, there's precedent.
Dude, I think we're on to something here.
We're
I
on.
think he's in the next Ocean's movie. If there's a next
gonna-
Ocean's movie,
I'm gonna have to put a call out. We're gonna have to get the feelers out there.
Now, do we want him to play the same way we talked about with Indiana Jones? Do we want him to play a young Danny Ocean?
Oh my god, now you're throwing in flashbacks here.
just again.
Or he plays like the bad owner of whatever they're trying to steal this time. Let him show
Yeah,
let him show some villainous chops.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can dig it. What about throw Woke in there and throw Daniel Radcliffe in there, and I'm sold.
Ooh, all right, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. There's a lot. See, what we're learning here is there's a world of possibility, Jim, and that's all I want in my Oceans movie. Is there a world of possibility?
And on that note, I think we've done enough.
Yes. On that note, we'll turn it over to you people. Let us know down below. Did you enjoy Bruce Almighty back in the day, and what your thoughts on it? And make sure you're back here next week when we dive into the classic that is Finding Nemo. And as always, we'll see you at the movies.